Good morning, people. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Sunday morning. Yes. The day right after week 0. As you guys know, college football was played yesterday. Had a couple good games, couple head scratchers and all of that. But college football is in full effect. I got to watch a few games yesterday. Now, I did watch USC versus San Jose. I did watch Navy versus Notre Dame, the massacre. Um, yeah, man, college football is back in effect, full effect. We're going to talk about all the games that went down yesterday. We're going to talk about some recruiting also, good and bad news. And of course, I need you guys to do me a huge favor as you come on in on this beautiful Sunday morning. Kind of slept in a little bit. Kind of made a mistake yesterday. Drank a Red Bull probably around 8 o'clock and forgot, how the Red Bull thing works. So kind of was up till like 2:30 last night and all that. So kind of woke up late this morning. Normally we do these shows a little bit earlier. But anyways, man, as you guys come on in, hit the like button, get in the comment section. We're gonna do roll call, highlight you guys in the comment section and all that good stuff. And then we're gonna talk about college football predictions, previews, what's coming, and of course, what we all saw yesterday. Now, a lot of games happened yesterday. I caught three of them. I caught San Jose versus USC, Navy versus Notre Dame, and I caught JSU, Jacksonville State, by the way, not Jackson State, versus UTEP. Came down to the end. Pretty good game. Notre Dame versus Navy, on the other hand, well, it was over. It was over. It was over from the beginning. And San Jose versus USC kind of, USC started out slow, but then they pulled away. But there's a lot of questions on that USC team that, probably need to be answered going into this season if Lincoln Riley want to have some success. But yeah, man, of course, some big name recruits made their announcements yesterday, came down to it. So we're going to talk about those too. But like I said, guys, get in the comment section, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and all that good stuff. So with all that being said, let me go ahead and jump that right over there. Okay, cool. So first game that kicked off the college football season or whatever was Navy versus Notre Dame, as you guys can see on the screen. As a matter of fact, we're going to go to that. We're going to go to that one. So Notre Dame won this one convincingly. I think the over and under was 21. Obviously, they covered that big time. Not sure what the points was. The spread. I think the point spread was 21. I forgot what the actual amount of points was, but Notre Dame handled business. Now, this game was not just a regular normal game. This game was in Ireland. As you guys know, Notre Dame is the Fighting Irish. So if you're playing in an Irish country, which is Ireland, naturally that's a home game for Notre Dame, even though it's across over into Europe. Still a home game for Notre Dame. That place was filled with the Irish. The Irish. Shout out to the Irish. Now, this game started off a little bit slow, as usual, and then boom. What did you expect from Sam? Done transferred from Wake Forest all the way up there now to Notre Dame. He went in there and he looked like a hero. Numbers was pretty good. As a matter of fact, we gonna look at some of these numbers and everything. Hartford threw 4 touchdowns on the day. What a season opener. So we're going to look at all them numbers and team stats and everything like that. Notre Dame put on a show. Navy, barely. Listen, man. Navy, you should have sent the Army. You should have sent the Air Force. You should have sent the Marines. Because these boys didn't show up. These boys did not show up. Man, that's tough. I hope our real Navy, I'm talking about our real Navy, our military, don't act like that. Because if they do, we in trouble. I'm just saying. But anyways, Notre Dame totally dominated this game. 27 first downs compared to Navy's 12. Third down efficiency, they was 5 for 7, basically having their way. Fourth down, they was 1 for 1. Navy third down, they were 4 for 14. On fourth down though, they had a 75% efficiency with 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4. Total yards, Notre Dame went massacre on them, went ham. 444 yards compared to Navy's total of 171. Passing yards for Navy was 43. They were running the ball the whole game. They was literally running the ball the whole game. 1 or 2 passes here and there is what you got from Navy yesterday. Notre Dame passed the ball for 253 yards, as you guys know, with Hartford's 4 touchdowns. Completions, Navy threw the ball 7 times. 7 times. They completed 3 out of 7. I'm trying to paint you guys a picture of how many times they ran this ball. They completed 3 passes for Navy yesterday out of 7. 3 of them. That's tough. That's tough. Navy threw the ball 7 times in the entire game. 7 times. While on the other hand, you got Notre Dame 20 out of 24. 20 out of 24. That's a great game for Sam Hartford. Starting out his season with some, Heisman kind of numbers, if you get what I'm saying. 4 touchdowns, 20 for 24. Hey, that's a good way to start off your season. And let's just say, Navy's a cupcake, but they're not the cupcakes of the cupcakes, if you get what I'm saying. So obviously, passing yards and everything like that all favors Notre Dame. Running yards do too. You would think since Navy ran the ball so much, they would have had more success. They only rushed for 128 yards, while Notre Dame rushed for 191. So all around, Notre Dame is way more talented than Navy. They had their numbers yesterday, and they just continue to dominate that game. Anything and everything that could go wrong for Navy yesterday did. It happened. Total massacre to open up the season. Great for Notre Dame, terrible for Navy. Notre Dame coming into this season with a 13th ranked team now. Obviously, down the line they'll play some more tough opponents, and we'll actually see what Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame really has to offer this year when they go up against top-notch opponents. Okay, so Navy ran the ball yesterday 47 times. 47 times and threw the ball for seven times. Crazy ratio right there. 7 to 47. That's tough. That's tough. On the other hand, you got Notre Dame that rushed the ball 32 times, end up with 191 yards. They was averaging about 6 yards a carry. So Notre Dame was literally having their way with Navy. Navy ran the ball 47 times, averaging about 2.7 yards per carry. So penalty-wise, Navy was only hit with 3 penalties for 26 yards, while Notre Dame, a very disciplined team so far in game 1, only committed 1 penalty. Only 1 penalty. 1 penalty for 10 yards. So all-out domination by Notre Dame in that first game. It is what it is, man. Navy, regroup. Go fix your ships. You got sunk. It is what it is. Rihanna and the crew from Battleship, they wasn't on board. I don't know, man. I don't know. Time of possession though, Navy had the ball 33 minutes and 14 seconds. Yeah, that'll happen when you run the ball a lot. Notre Dame had it for a total of 26 and 46 seconds. So there you have it, man. That was the game. Now they did play in Ireland, like I told you guys. This was a soccer stadium, as you guys know. American football is not that popular in Europe. It's getting its way around here and there, but it's not as popular as world football. I call it world football. This is American football, and then there's world football. So it was playing in a soccer stadium, as you guys would call it. But yeah, so the over and under was 49. So obviously they did not hit the over. So if you was a betting man and you betted on this game, if you took Notre Dame for the 20.5 points, you would win. If you took them for under 49 points, you would also win. So That was it right there. Attendance, they had 49,000 people on deck. This thing was sold out, guys. So a very successful day for college football, going overseas to Ireland. Of course, pretty much a home game for Notre Dame. All right, Chris, what's going on with you? I see you in the chat. Darius, salute to you, my brother. What's going on with you? All right, let's keep it moving. Let's shift. Let's shift from Navy versus Notre Dame. The total massacre, beat down 100% yesterday. So one of the other games that I did watch right afterwards, and we're gonna get into this one too. Jacksonville State versus UTEP. Now, normally I wouldn't pick these games. I wouldn't call these games. I wouldn't even pay these games no attention. But it's week one, after Navy versus Notre Dame, it's like, what's next? Who you going to watch next? This game was up. So, you know what? I'm a college football fan. I love college football. I'd rather watch college football than sit around and watch nothing. But this game right here was a head scratcher. It was a close game. It was pretty good. It was pretty good throughout the whole entire thing. Now, the last couple plays was kind of controversial. Suspect calls. UTEP should have won this game. JSU came out with a victory, but UTEP should have won this game. 31. My guy throws a fade route to the end zone. Receiver doesn't come up with it. Defender get his hand in there. The receiver literally had it, but the defender get his hand in there, knock that out. Now you got 4th and 1. You're pretty much in field goal range. So what do? They decide to go for it. On the next play, 4th and 1, throws an interception with like a minute left, minute 19 or something like that. Game's over. Game over. UTEP basically blew it. Now, they could have possibly kicked the field goal and made this a game, made this a 17-7 game and play for the overtime, or play to stop JSU from scoring within a minute and, I want to say 15 seconds. Let's just give them 4 seconds to kick off that field goal. Nope, throws an interception. UTEP didn't have no more timeout, so obviously you know what JSU did, run the play and then run the clock dead, basically. And that's your ball game, 17-14. Great game. Controversial calls at the end for, UTEP. Coach is probably scratching his head right now in his office. Probably got to answer some questions to, the presidents and everybody that literally watched this meltdown at the end of the game. Sam, what's going on with you, my guy?
What's good, T2Y?
Did you get to see this game or any other games yesterday?
I didn't see this game, but I saw all the other games. Let me start off by saying you called that one out with that. I think we both called that one out with that Army and what was
Navy,
it?
Navy
Notre Dame game. Yeah, we called that one out because I definitely said I didn't think they was going to put up too many points. I thought they would have put up more than 3. But after I realized that they run the wing T and wishbone, I figured, they were just going to go in there and just not do anything. I kind of that USC game that I was talking about, that played out exactly how I kind of thought it would, though.
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, they ran the ball a total of 47 times. Passed it 7 times. So I'd say that to say this. If you're a wide receiver, would you ever look to go to Navy?
I think it comes down to what kind of people are Navy recruiting in general. Because I don't think people that go to Navy and Army truly care about football.
I don't think so either.
I think like that those are Navy and Army brats. And they just so happen to have a D1 program in that sport, so they can do both. And whether they win or lose, then it is what it is. They still in the Army and Navy.
Now, watching that game brought back memories for me. Watching Miami back in the day play that Georgia Tech game, all them Georgia Tech games when all they did was literally ran the ball 100 times and throw it maybe 3 or 4 times in the game. Which is crazy to me because one of the best wide receivers to ever do it was, Megatron. He came out of Georgia Tech. Every once in a blue moon, they'll throw him a fade or they'll throw him something and he'll go out there and look spectacular. But during that game, most of the time they was gonna run the ball. That's literally what you got out of Navy. Now they did have one of their running back that was doing pretty good in the beginning. Picking up big chunk yards, breaking tackles, all that good stuff. And then out of nowhere, Notre Dame clamped down on them. Now, what I found surprising, and most Miami Hurricane fans probably didn't notice, or if you did, then it is what it is. But Notre Dame's defensive coordinator is none other than Mr. Ty himself, Al Golden. Al Golden. I did not know that until yesterday when they called it out during the game.
Now that's wild.
Actually, I did know, but I just didn't remember what. I knew he was over there coaching. I just didn't remember what position. I was like, defensive coordinator. My guy has always been an offensive guy. But, hey, that's tough. Notre Dame, man, so far so good for them.
USC game?
So far so good. But UTEP, controversial down to the end. Numbers-wise, let's look at the stats. See if we can paint a picture here with these stats. Obviously, close game. UTEP, like I said, should have won this game. First down ratios. UTEP had 22 first downs. JSU had 15. Third down efficiency is where things get kind of shaky. UTEP was 3 for 12. You got JSU was 7 for 16. So not like good numbers for UTEP. They only basically was efficient on like 25% of their third downs, which is terrible in college football. While you have JSU almost at 50%. So that's a huge ratio. Fourth down efficiency, they were 1 for 3, while JSU was 1 for 2. Didn't go on fourth down that much that game. Now total yards is where the disparity is at. You got UTEP with a 364-yard performance, while you got JSU with only 277. So you would think the game would be favoring UTEP. It should have, but unfortunately for them, based on stats and everything. But performance on the field says otherwise. Passing yards, 208 yards for UTEP, only 67 yards for JSU. They had them. Literally, they had them. They couldn't. JSU could not pass the ball on them, basically. Now, passing, of course, attempts, you had 17 for 29. I'm sorry, and then on JSU side, they were 10 for 20, so they completed only 50% of their passes. Now, but on the other hand, in rushing yards, that's where the thing get shaky a little bit, because JSU did rush for 210 yards on them, while UTEP rushed for 156. So the numbers not favoring JSU in no shape, form, except for rushing. So at the end of the day, rushing attempts for UTEP, they rushed the ball 43 times.
Hey, I got a question. I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Was that you or somebody else in the chat that said that San Jose State quarterback was like that yesterday?
Definitely wasn't me. I don't even know that guy.
Oh, okay, because I remember when we was talking about it, somebody was like, y'all sleep on San Jose quarterback. He may be playing on a sorry or a lesser team, but he definitely is the truth. And I'm not gonna lie, I ain't gonna say he was the truth from what I saw, but I could tell based off his performance yesterday, he's no pushover as a quarterback. Like if you put him on a better team, I think he'd be just fine. Maybe not Heisman, but he'd be just fine.
Now, on the other hand, fumble loss, UTEP gave up a fumble and they threw 2 interceptions. So that kind of tell you where the ball game go. They pretty much had everything rolling, and those, interceptions and fumbles kind of cost them the game a lot. Possession-wise, they had the ball for 34 yards. 35 minutes. And on the other hand, you got JSU with 25 minutes. So they had the ball way longer than them, just couldn't, capitalize. All right, so that's enough for UTEP versus JSU. And they ain't trying to put nobody to sleep this morning. Most of you guys don't really care about these kind of games. But, hey, man, you got to take what you get in week 0. You're not gonna get no Alabama versus Georgia in week 0. So
at all.
Okay, so the one we were just talking about. Let's go on over here to USC versus San Jose State. San Jose State. Now, halftime, it was basically USC up by 7. Up by 7. It seemed like it was going to be a good game. It was 21-14 at halftime. So obviously we all thought, oh man, what is going on? The Heisman Trophy winner didn't look too great in the beginning. The offensive line for USC was questionable. You know, my guy was literally running for his life most of the all the time. You know, anything that could go wrong in the first half of USC did, but they still, you know, hang strong. And then the third quarter came out, and then they just exploded, dropped 21 in the third, and then another 14 to finish on 56-28. In the second half, first and second half, you know, San Jose only put up 14 both. So that's pretty much the ball game for you. Now, obviously, Caleb Williams threw 4 touchdowns. Now, if you're looking at the numbers and you didn't see the game, you would think this was a total domination by USC. And then, you know, in the fourth and all of that, they gave the, I want to say the second and third team chances to go out there. It was not like that. It was not like that
at all.
All that happened in the fourth quarter.
I'll be honest with you because I sat down and watched that whole game through and through. I didn't see a big improvement from this so-called USC defense because
I didn't either.
I'm just being honest with you because that running back that San Jose had, he looked like he played for ACC or SEC team. The way the O-line was giving him all kind of lanes to run through in that first half, and I was like, Bear Alexander is on that defense.
Overrated.
He wasn't. He had a pat down or a ball. He knocked the ball down on one play, but that defense was giving up a lot of plays.
Bear Alexander, overrated, overpaid.
He had some plays. I give him that, but as a whole, as the defense, you can't tell me that that looked like a defense that they'd be proud of. I get it's week 1. I get it's, you know, first game of the season and first half of the season. I get that, but y'all went out there and played a team that, quite frankly, is a nobody, and they actually put up a fairly decent fight. I'd argue that if they had more depth at positions, they probably could have made that game a little bit closer.
A lot closer.
Yeah.
They probably could have pushed to make this a one or two possession game.
Exactly. I'm not going to say they could have won. I'm not saying that. But with more depth on that team, I think this is, like you said, a 7-point game, maybe a 3-point game. Because they didn't let up. They just didn't have the numbers. They didn't have the depth. The first string was pretty solid. The second string is where it started to go downhill. And after that, it was like the second half, it showed who had better depth.
Yeah, they was basically outclassed at the second and third positions.
Yeah, they're gonna get it in practice. Today, Sunday, tomorrow, when they watch film, they're gonna be like, well, you know what? I think if we add a couple more key players at these positions, we maybe can make this game a closer, respectable score. Because I didn't see San Jose looking bad in that game outside of the messed up plays that they did run that USC capitalized on. I just think they didn't have the depth to compete with them for 4 quarters. Because we seen how they scored in like 8 seconds right before the half. Am I wrong?
Right.
And it didn't even look like, well, it was a busted coverage, but still.
Yeah, that pass right on to I think it was the left side of the end zone.
Right. It was a busted coverage. Heck, if you take away that play that Caleb Williams turned into a miracle when he threw for like 74 yards to that receiver, you take that accidental play away. Hey, ain't no.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal play. I think the ball literally bounced it off the ground. He grabbed it, boom, looked down the field. He was literally seconds away from being sacked.
Yeah.
throws it down, boom, receiver gets it, run the rest of the way. Nobody was gonna catch him. Yeah, that was a phenomenal play, but that was definitely what they want to call it. What's the word for some that it ain't coming to my mind right now.
A highlight reel play.
Definitely was, but it's a anomaly.
Yeah,
that was an anomaly.
Yeah, that most quarterbacks aren't just gonna make that type of play happen on any given Saturday. So I'm gonna give them that because it worked. I'm gonna give them that because it worked. But if you watch the game, you saw for the most part that man was running for his life.
Now, let's do some hypotheticals. Because obviously these are the games to talk about. We're not really going to talk about the rest of them that way. We'll run through the scores and everything on the rest of the game. But let's just say, take San Jose out the picture. Take Navy out the picture. Make this week 1 Notre Dame versus USC. What do you think we see yesterday? Who wins? Who come out on top? Who would you take?
I'm gonna have to go with Navy, not Navy, but Notre Dame.
And for what reasons?
I'm gonna say this: I feel like Notre Dame had a better defense than USC, and what I mean by that, I felt like they would have been able to get Caleb Williams off the field enough times for them to at least get a few more points than he did. Because Caleb Williams didn't score every possession.
Right.
He got 3 and out a couple times, and there was a couple mishaps on their end on the offensive side of the ball as well. But I felt like, Notre Dame.
I think Notre Dame would have had the weapons to put up points on them, especially passing the ball.
Yes.
And on top of that, when you think about the defensive side of the defensive line, I think Notre Dame would have been able to send more towards USC than I think Caleb would have had more pressures, would have been sacked a lot more, would have been forced to throw.
They blitzed in that first half. They blitzed a lot. And
I think they would have had the depth more than San Jose to actually, get at them. Because you got to think about it too. Navy basically ran the ball the whole game. So Notre Dame didn't necessarily have to blitz them, didn't necessarily have to do too much. They pretty much knew what was coming almost every play.
Right.
But on the other hand, with USC, they're going to pass the ball. They got a Heisman Trophy winning throwing quarterback or whatever. They got weapons at wide receivers. So I think that would have been a way better game. I honestly would have took Notre Dame to actually upset them. Because let's just be honest, USC is ranked number 6, so they would have been favorite. They would have been on. Notre Dame would have been the underdog coming in at number 13. I think that would have been a way better game. I think it would have been a lot more balanced too. When you look at USC yesterday, they put up 500 yards on San Jose. I think they would probably only put up like maybe 350 on Notre Dame.
So let me ask you this. Give me a score prediction because I feel like it would have been. I don't think it would have been a shootout. I think it would have been a.
I think it would have been a slugfest, a dogfight.
Yeah, that. I think
it would have been in the range of USC 28. I want to say Notre Dame around the
31,
34-ish, 35-ish kind of deal. I think Notre Dame would have put up more points than them. I think Sam Hartford performance yesterday, granted that his Navy was better than Caleb Johnson in week 1. Don't get me wrong, though. Caleb Johnson did throw 24 for 35, almost 10 yards every pass play. So it is.
Not break a record, but he passed somebody's record from Georgia, a Hall of Famer from Georgia in receiving yards or not receiving yards, but passing yards. They announced it yesterday or something like that. But
I probably wasn't paying attention during that portion. But
it ain't nothing to be like, oh wow, he broke such and such record. It wasn't nothing like that. It was just with his stats currently in his career, he surpassed such and such from this era type situation. But I agree. I think Notre Dame would have completely I ain't say completely. I think Notre Dame walk away with that victory. I don't think it'd have been
Yep.
a
And
high scoring
I can
shootout.
say this too. Notre Dame is a way more disciplined team than a USC is because Notre Dame had 1 penalty for 10 yards. You got USC with 8 penalties for 57. 8 penalties. I'll take 1 penalty over 8 any day. I think those could be different makers when you're playing real opponents. If you were playing a real opponent other than San Jose, I think those kind of penalties could bite you in the butt.
That's the that get you behind the sticks.
That shows that Lincoln Riley need to get on that team and get them a lot more disciplined if they're really going to try to make a push for Pac-12 championship and the playoffs and possibly trying to win a championship. Caleb Williams will not be here next year. Let's be honest about that. They was lucky to even get him to come back this year.
You're right about that. But I guess they kind of looked at what a couple other teams throughout college are doing, trying to retain their key players like that. Like, how like Jordan Travis, they know he'll probably go first round. So why not come back another year and try to get a championship out of that or stuff like that? I think that's kind of what it was for USC because it was no reason for him to have to come back this year.
All right. So while we're on the topic of USC, and we'll shift back to Notre Dame in a second, look at the rest of their schedule. Obviously, week 0, they took the victory. Coming up next on their list, they got Nevada. I think that'll be an easy win for them. Another one. I think they'll probably have similar performance the way that they do against San Jose. I think if I'm Lincoln Riley, we're going into this week like basically on the defense. We got to get on top of the defensive side of the ball. I think offensive side, they're pretty solid. They know what they can get out of that offense, but it's a defense that they really got to clamp down on, and it's no surprise. It's been that since last year. And let's be honest, we haven't seen that much of an improvement on the defensive side when it comes to USC. So if they really want to get it together, I think Nevada's one of those teams that they're going to have to test out some things on because coming up right after them, you have Stanford and the rest of the schedule is all, not gimmies. They won't have a gimme after Nevada.
You think Arizona State going to give them a run for their money?
Arizona State, I'm not so sure. From what I'm seeing too, also with Arizona State, they got a bowl. They're going to skip out on a bowl game this year because of all the, the scandals that happened there. Head coach and everything like that allegedly. So I don't think necessarily that Arizona State is going to really compete like that, especially coming out with a freshman quarterback in Jaden Rashada. Haven't really had any proven, commodities over there. So I think USC will get the win. Now, how competitive Arizona State is going to be in that game is a different question. But I definitely still would take USC to win that game, especially from an offensive perspective.
Right. I don't see Arizona State doing too much either, if I'm being honest with you. I think you spot on with that one too. I think it just comes down to, like you said, discipline, because 8 penalties, that's a lot. And that is a difference maker. You got to clean that up, and you got to clean that up immediately, because you got one more cupcake game before it's if you lose, you're out.
All right, and speaking of cupcake games, also Notre Dame's next game is a cupcake. No offense, Tennessee State, but let's just be honest. Everybody's going to expect them to beat the bejesus out of you. You're not a Navy. I think Navy is a better team than you guys, and they was only able to put up 3 points on Notre Dame. So I definitely think this game is also going to be one of those head scratchers. Like, dang, did Notre Dame really have to do that to them? And then after that, they'll finally get some, somewhat of a competition. I still think they would beat NC State, but they do go to NC State to play them. That game will be on 12 p.m. On September 9th on ABC. So we'll get to see that if you're watching it on regular channels, or if you got a little antenna, you can watch it on TV. So, Notre Dame next game, cupcake also. So expect Notre Dame to start this season off 2-0. And then they'll start, getting into the midst of their schedule. They do have some key matchups on this schedule this year. Starting with Ohio State and USC. Those are, and of course, they got Clemson on there too. So those will be three major matchups for them. And if you want to sprinkle some other games in there, you could talk about the NC States, the Louisville. Duke is not a pushover nowadays, but I still think Notre Dame will beat those guys.
I think they get overpowered.
And of course, you got Pitt on there also. Pitt is a question mark team. Never know what you get with them. So Notre Dame got a favorable schedule, but they do have some key matchups on that schedule with Ohio State, Clemson, and of course USC. So it should be an interesting year for the Fighting Irish, to say that. Now, the rest of college football went down yesterday. We're going to skim through some of these scores, and then we're going to get into next week. We're going to get into starting off Thursday. We got some very excitable games to watch. Very excitable games. I got a Gator fan on here. I mean, he could pretty much be excited to watch on Thursday.
Don't do all that now.
Let's get on over to some of these schedules and scores, and can't wait, man. Can't wait. It's gonna be exciting. All right, let's switch this to FBS 1. All right. So it's still on top 25. All right. So obviously UTEP, tapped out to Jacksonville State. UMass put up a victory yesterday against New Mexico State. Let's be honest, none of y'all guys really care about that, so we're just gonna run through it. Some former Miami Hurricanes, actually transferred over there. Two that I can remember. Mark Pope, former 5-star wide receiver, he's over there, and if I'm not mistaken, Thad Franklin, one of our former running backs, he's also over there. So UTEP. 41-30 victory. Pulled it off in the fourth quarter. Dropped 28 in the fourth quarter, but also gave up 20 in the fourth quarter. Let's keep it moving. San Diego State, they start off the season 1-0, beating Ohio, beating them by 7. So obviously that probably was a good game all the way down to the end. From what I'm seeing at halftime, it was 10-6, and then no points were scored in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, San Diego put up 10, and Ohio was only able to answer with 7. So they came out with a victory. San Diego State will start off 1-0, while Ohio will start off 0-1. Now that was a home game for San Diego State, so they're 1-0 at home. Not going to dig into them because let's just be honest, most of you guys really don't pay them that much of attention. LA Tech. Season opener against FIU, they won that game 22-17. 22-17, a 5-point win. FIU came out strong in their first quarter, put up 14, and then they went dead. The second quarter, they put up 3, and then literally dropped off, didn't come back. The offense didn't show no efforts the second half, according to these stats. 0 in the third and 0 in the fourth, while LA Tech put up 13 in the second quarter and 9 in the fourth, pulling off a victory.
You know what game that actually was by accident kind of okay or kind of good?
Vanderbilt versus Hawaii?
Yeah, I watched that game, and I don't know if it was just because Hawaii – I don't know what it was, but I actually watched that game, and Vanderbilt they made some good plays. I felt like Hawaii had better quarterback play. They might have won that game.
Let's glance into this one, because obviously this was a head scratcher last year. Vanderbilt went over to Hawaii and dropped 60 on them.
Yeah.
This year we was expecting them to do possibly the same thing at home. Not the case. Vanderbilt being Vanderbilt, inconsistent, but they did start off the season 1-0. Everybody expected them to win that game, but I think the point spread, if I'm not mistaken, was 17.5. Obviously, they only won by 7, so you definitely, if you had them on the ticket, if you had them on a parlay or anything, they definitely ruined your day yesterday. Vanderbilt.
Crazy part about it is Vanderbilt, they didn't necessarily win that game because they were just a better team. Hawaii beat themselves up in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the numbers too, total yards, Hawaii had 391, Vanderbilt 300. First downs, 19 for Hawaii, 17 for Vanderbilt. Third down efficiency, 3 of 11 for Hawaii, 5 for 12 for Vanderbilt. Fourth down, Hawaii was 75% with a 3 for 4, and of course you had Vanderbilt with a 33% with 1 for 3. So obviously, passing wise, Vanderbilt lost in that matchup also. 351 for Hawaii, 258 for them. When you look at rushing yards, it's also similar. You got Hawaii rushing for 40 yards while Vanderbilt only ran for 44. Look at the penalties wise. Both teams was heavily penalized in this one, but it still was a notch towards Hawaii. Hawaii had seven penalties for 59, while Vanderbilt had 8 penalties for 72. So these are two undisciplined teams. And when you look at the what really cost Hawaii this game, I would probably go with the turnovers because they did throw 2 interceptions while Vanderbilt did none. No fumbles happened in this game. So Hawaii gave up the ball twice. When you look at time of possession, it's 31-28. So everything was similar.
So for that game, Vanderbilt literally won that game off of the last turnover. Like Hawaii was driving down the field. If you watched it, you saw it. Hawaii drove down the field. They just made a bonehead mistake and he threw a pick. To be honest with you, it wasn't like Vanderbilt was just so dominant or Hawaii was just that bad compared to them. Believe it or not, Vanderbilt was actually closer to losing that game than people might actually look at on paper. Like that game was a lot closer than the 7 points that's showing. I'd even argue that Hawaii would have had 35 points and Vanderbilt would have had 28 if it wasn't for the 2 turnovers.
Right. I mean, when you compare their quarterback, one went for 27 for 35. That's magnificent. For 351 yards. Obviously, though, the head scratcher would be the 2 interception. He did throw 3 touchdowns with a 2 interception. On the other hand, A.J. Swan for Vanderbilt, he was 19 for 30, 258 with three touchdowns and 0 interception. That 0 interception, basically the key to win.
Exactly.
Rushing and everything like that was totally off for both teams. Vanderbilt literally had everybody and their mama running the ball. Yeah.
More or less, it even though that was an SEC team, and I actually watched the little press conference.
Would you really consider them SEC though?
That's what they got on their logo. Hey, but you laugh about it. We laugh about it, but I watched the little press conference, and their head coach basically said this: if we're gonna call ourselves an SEC team, we got to at least have the mentality to play like one. I'm tired of going 5-7 and everybody saying, "Oh, that's good for you, Vanderbilt. Good job. 5 wins. Good job. We got to start competing." Now, does that mean them guys going to go 12-0? No, but I think he has the right mindset or the right direction of what he want to do with that program, because you can't keep saying we SEC team and you go 5-7 for like 12 years in a row, and you winning 6 or 7 games in the season is like a really big deal for you guys. That ain't gonna cut it. I don't know how they managed to get in the SEC. I don't even remember when they got there, or But hey, 5-7 every single season, or 4-8. That's like you said, that's tough.
All right, so we're gonna do a segment what I would like to call Quick Pick. Coming up, obviously, this week we got a lot of matchups. We don't know much about most of these teams as of right now. We know some of them made improvements over the offseason. Some of them probably downgraded a little bit, this, that, and the third. But until we see those first couple games, you won't really necessarily know what you're working with. So let's start this thing off. On Thursday night, we got college football, August 31st, of course. Wake Forest, Elon.
I'm going with Wake Forest.
Obviously, I'm going with Wake Forest too. We're gonna keep it moving. Quick pick. Kent State versus UCF. UCF is a 37-point favorite in this one in Orlando.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with UCF as well.
I'm gonna take UCF also, but Kent State, they have been rearing their heads, been getting a little buzz lately.
I believe
gave Georgia a good game.
I believe it. Yeah.
But that was last season.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna take USF to UCF. I'm sorry, to win that one. Keep it moving on. Rhode Island, Georgia State.
I'm going with Georgia State.
I'm going with Georgia State also, just for the simple fact that they're at home. I've actually heard of them, never heard of Rhode Island that much.
Yeah, ever. I've never heard of
them. St. Francis versus Western Michigan.
I'm going with Western Michigan. I thought that was a high school team, St. Francis.
Yeah, I'll take Western Michigan also, just for the fact that they're at home, and I've actually heard of them. A great matchup, huge matchup here. NC State is obviously the favorite by 15 points. They're playing away at Connecticut, but UConn versus NC State.
I'm going with NC State. I think they all right.
I'm going to take NC State also. I think UConn got a long way to go before anybody will start picking them over, any Power 5 team, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right. Obviously, probably the matchup of the night. You got Florida versus Utah. Utah is a 6.5-point favorite. They was at 7. Now they dropped down to 6.5. Over and under is sitting at 46.5. This game is in Utah in Salt Lake City. ESPN, 8 o'clock, considered to be the primetime game. Who you got? By the way, the weather will be like 82 degrees. So, nice, good weather. Who you going with? Obviously, you're a Florida Gator fan, so
don't even play like that.
Gotta take the fan, take the bias out of it. Well, who you going?
I'm going with Florida because everybody's counting them out, and not only that, it's just I know my team. I've looked into Utah. They're a good program. They're a good team. I'm not gonna take nothing from them, but I know my boys ain't gonna go out there and just lay an egg.
All right, let me turn the stove on because I'm about to cook. Utah is gonna demolish Florida in this game. I obviously think that Florida would not be prepared for this game, and it's not based on talent. It's not based on the players. It's based on the altitude, plain and simple. I've been speaking about altitude for weeks now, for months now. I don't think Florida is going to be able to go up there and basically give them 4 good quarters of football. I think maybe 2.5, and then they'll be gassed. Perfect example is the Kamani McLean situation. You see what happened when a kid from Florida goes up to those kind of weather, those kind of altitude. It takes some time to adjust. So I'm not going to say Utah just beat Florida based on talent. I'm going to say based on weather, based on environment. Now, obviously, this game probably will be a packed-out stadium, so they will be making some noise in there. I'm going to take Utah for the win. I definitely think that the 6.5 is a little bit low. I think they'll probably win by maybe 10 points. Over and under, that's a more complicated thing to talk about. Not quite sure what Florida's defense is going to look like, but I think they have a lot of problems in the secondary. Linebackers and certain positions and, on their field, they got a lot of injuries to deal with. A lot of veteran players will not be playing in that game. Some of them, blown out knee.
Man, it's only 2 people that's not going to be playing.
Those 2 are very significant pieces.
Man, said a lot of veteran pieces. Justice Boone.
And you got to think about it, too. Florida doesn't have a veteran present team. They're more of a young team. Freshmen and sophomores to be exact. Couple juniors here and there, but most of those juniors aren't even starting. So I'm going to say you guys are a young team going into a bad environment. I'm going to take Utah for 10 points. 10-point win. I could go even further than that, but I'm gonna stick to 10 points because I do want to actually put just a slight tad bit of respect on Florida. Now, obviously, Tita Wise's words aren't, the end all be all. We could be talking about this game on Friday morning, or even, we're definitely gonna talk about this on Friday because ain't nobody gonna stay up to do coverage at like 12 because that's probably when this game is going to end. I could be wrong. I could be like, wow, Florida really went up there and demolished those boys. Really went up there and beat them down, ended their 14-game home win streak. That's another thing to think about too. They haven't lost a game in 14 plays, 14 games at home. So Florida's looking to go up there and basically end that and everything like that. So Friday we'll see what's going on, but hey, I could be wrong. My words ain't set in stone. I don't know the future. I'm not Miss Cleo. Don't call me now. All right, let's keep it moving. Nebraska versus Minnesota. Minnesota is a 7.5-point favorite at home, over and under 43.5.
I'm gonna have to go with Minnesota because they're home. I was gonna go with Nebraska, but I'm gonna have to go with Minnesota because they're home.
All right, so Nebraska, obviously last season, after a couple games they fired Scott Frost. They got new head coaches in there. What's the guy name?
For Nebraska?
Yeah, Matt Rule.
Matt Rule, the old NFL head coach, one of the head coaches from the NFL.
Yep, they've been making some noise, man, in recruiting. They've been making some noise in, transfer portal and everything. They look to basically, turn that team around. So obviously, first game of the season, Minnesota is not a team that you would really want to play like that. But I'm actually go with Minnesota myself. I'm gonna take Minnesota for the win, just for the cause that they're at home. And Matt Rule, this is Matt Rule's first year.
Believe it or not, Nebraska actually got some SEC caliber linemen over there that transfer over there. They got, I believe, it's 2 Florida offensive linemen transferred over there, and a couple other players from around the SEC transferred there. So I wouldn't necessarily say they're gonna be bad, but we're gonna see. Like you said, we're gonna see.
On Thursday night, obviously the game to watch is Florida versus Utah at 8:00, but that at 8:00 slot also on Fox. I think a lot of people will tune in more to the Nebraska versus Minnesota game because that one will be actually on local and local cable channels or whatever. And if you got an antenna or something like that, you can watch that game for free. So Florida's game is on ESPN, so that's going to be one of those where you kind of flipping back and forth kind of deal. Now, if let's just say one of those teams take off and they're beating the bejesus out of each other, then you'll basically narrow it down and watch one of them. But that's going to be interesting to watch. Me personally, based on the channel and based on the current events that I talk about, I'll definitely be tuning into Florida versus Utah. Now, one that probably will get glanced over, you'll have Missouri versus South Dakota. That's in Missouri. That's also on the SEC network at 8:00.
I think that's a blowout game.
I think it's a blowout game too. Missouri will come out swinging their nuts.
Missouri got a lot of starters coming back too.
Yeah, shout out to Missouri. Unfortunately for them, they didn't start Jake Garcia at quarterback, but it is what it is. I'll take Missouri for the sure win on that one, probably 28 or more, depending on. As a matter, I'm gonna lower that 21 and more. I'm gonna give them 21. Obviously, Vegas hasn't given them any points yet. They haven't put out any spreads or anything, so we're gonna keep it moving. Tulsa, Arkansas, Pine Bluff.
I'm going with Tulsa because I actually can say something about Tulsa from what I've seen. You can look up Tulsa. I'm gonna go with Tulsa.
I'm gonna take Tulsa also. Just keep it moving on that one. UAB versus North Carolina A&T.
So this gonna sound a little weird, but I might have to go with North Carolina A&T. I know UAB a little bit better, but I've actually seen North Carolina A&T win some games before.
The JSU.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm gonna take UAB for the win. I'm just gonna go with the guy that's at home in UAB. I don't know too much about that team. I don't know too much about North Carolina AT&T, but I'm just gonna take the home team for that one. South Utah versus Arizona State. In Arizona, of course.
Arizona State for that one.
Arizona State cupcake game, warm-up game. They'll blow them out. Or if they don't blow them out, they'll definitely win. All right, let's go into Friday, September 1st. You got Howard versus Eastern Michigan in Michigan.
I'm gonna be that guy. I'm saying I'm going with Eastern Michigan. Let Howard stick with their academics.
I'm gonna take Eastern Michigan also. They're at home. That's pretty much it. Don't know too much about neither one of these teams. 7 o'clock, you got Central Michigan versus Michigan State. Michigan State is a 14.5-point favorite with the over and under sitting at 47.
I think that's clear cut Michigan State. That's a warm-up game for them.
I think I'm going to take Michigan State. I'm also going to take them to cover the 14.5 points. I think they'll come out and make a statement in this game, but let's be honest. Central Michigan is not just some regular pushover. I think this game, I'm gonna say, might be over halfway through the third quarter. It's not gonna be just over in the first half. That's what I'm gonna say. All right, obviously prime time, 7 o'clock. Well, not necessarily prime time, but 7 o'clock on ACC Network. You got Miami of Ohio visiting the Miami Hurricanes down in Coral Gables. Miami is a 17.5-point favorite in this one. Over and under is sitting at 46. What's your thoughts?
I mean, that's clear cut. I think Miami of Ohio wins the. Now I'm just joking with you. I think you win that game. I watched their press conference. Their head coach don't even think they're gonna win that game.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I was prepping this one up for you.
Nah, I went
the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
I had that one in the bag, just waiting for you to say Miami of Ohio win.
Nah, I ain't that delusional. I think y'all will beat that. That'll be a good warm-up game for you guys too.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking Miami for the win on this one.
What's the point spread?
17.5 Miami. So obviously, home game for Miami, first game of the season, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. Tyler Van Dyke seems to, try to get his foot back under him. I think he'll pick this offense that he's running. I think he'll definitely pick right up where he left off. 300, 3 touchdowns, that kind of deal with Rhett Lashley. Obviously, Rhett Lashley moved on. Gaddis came in. Tyler Van Dyke looked at odd last year. Played on the 6th game due to injury. This year seemed to be the year that he will try to bounce back and actually, try to get his stats for the NFL draft. Now, questions will be about basically the wide receivers. Can they be consistent this year? Can they catch the ball? Can they, get yak? Can they actually go vertical? Last year, we didn't see much of that. We had a slow developing defense, slow developing offense, and, you saw games where Miami was giving up 45 points to almost everybody and their mom. Now, this season, can Miami clamp down? Can they revive this offense? Can they go out and actually put up points is the question. There was a lot of question marks last year. There's like at least 6 quarters or so where Miami didn't put up any touchdowns. So this season, we're actually looking to turn all that around. And unfortunately for Miami, Ohio, they will be the first victim. Now, Miami do have a key matchup the next week. So I kind of want Miami to stay focused on Miami, Ohio, and not necessarily look forward to Texas A&M and overlook Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio quarterback actually came out and said that they're basically going to come down here and beat us, talking about who's the real Miami. There's a clip of that on Twitter or whatever. I'll share that with you guys a little bit later on down while we get through all of these games. But I definitely will take Miami to win this game. I think they'll win convincingly. 17.5. Miami is not very known as of recently to cover a lot of spreads. So I want to go out on the edge and say we do cover this spread, though. All right, so 7:30, ESPN, probably will be the game of the night for them. Not really quite sure. But Louisville versus Georgia Tech. Louisville is a 7.5-point favorite. Georgia Tech is at home. Over and under is at 49.5.
I think I'm going to have to go with Georgia Tech on this one.
Georgia Tech for the upset?
Yeah.
Louisville,
only reason
Louisville
why
I think Louisville is one of the actually only team in America that's literally favored in every single game they play this year. So far, as of right now, preseason. Georgia Tech, performance-wise, coming off. Listen, Miami got 45 dropped on them by everybody last year. They was blowing out Georgia Tech. So I don't see the improvement. I think I'm gonna have to go with Louisville. I'm gonna have to go with Louisville. I think the 7.5 point is actually too low in this one. I'm gonna take Louisville to win in blowout fashion. All right, 8:00. You got Missouri State, Kansas.
Both of them trash, but I'm gonna go with Kansas because they actually was. I think they had a winning record last year. I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, they had a winning record last year. So I'm gonna go with Kansas.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna take Kansas on that one too. Just based on what they did last year, how they came up. I think they beat Texas a couple years ago too.
Sound about right.
Mistaken. So 11:00. Man, I don't think I'm gonna be up for that one. But Stanford is only a 5-point favorite against Hawaii. In Hawaii, Honolulu.
I still like Stanford. I think they go over there and
I'll take Stanford too. I think Stanford will go over there and beat them.
Yeah.
All right, Saturday.
They put up a good fight against Vanderbilt, but
So Saturday you got some games. We're gonna run through these ones too. Michigan is a 36-point favorite. Over and under is at 51.
I think that's too low.
East Carolina. I think that's around perfect. I think 36 would be around perfect. Because you got to think about it. Once they go up by certain points, they're gonna start bringing in the seconds, the thirds, and the points ain't gonna.
You're right, but Michigan, one of those teams that once they start getting up by 2 and 3 touchdowns, they run the ball and keep scoring by running the ball. They mess around and have 3 running backs that got 3 touchdowns apiece.
Now this game you can watch it at 12 p.m. on Peacock. I think if you have Verizon as your provider, you can definitely watch it for free. I got Peacock. I got Verizon right now. I switched from T-Horrible. So yeah, I'm gonna take Michigan for the win. I'm gonna take them to cover the 36. No, actually, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna have them cover the 36. I'll take them for the win, blowout fashion, 28 or more, but not 36. Virginia versus Tennessee. This should be a good one. Tennessee is at home in Nashville. They're a 28-point favorite. Over and under is at 57. New quarterback. Explosive offense last year, as you guys know, came up a little bit short, but Tennessee looked to take a step forward a lot more in the SEC this year. I'm going to take Tennessee for the win.
I think that's I think Tennessee win. I think they cover the spread too.
I take them to win, and I actually think they'll come up short of that spread. They'll definitely win. I want to say about maybe 24. I'm going to give them about a 24, but I don't think they're going to cover the 28. Now, Virginia is a horrible team last season, but hey, things could change. Not quite sure. But I'm going to just say Tennessee for the win, maybe around 24 points. New quarterback, new system, whatever. Colorado, Deion Sanders makes his debut at Colorado versus TCU, the number 17 ranked team in the country. Also just played in the national championship, got the bejesus beat out of them 65-7. TCU is a 21-point favorite. Over and under is at 59.5. Call it 60 points. This is a home game for TCU. Anybody going out on a limb and taking Colorado to win this one?
I don't think Colorado wins, but I don't think Colorado wins, but I don't know if they're gonna cover that spread though. I don't know. I think we're gonna have to see, but I think Colorado lose by at least 14. I don't think Deion effect is gonna just happen week 1.
I'm gonna take TCU for the win. I'm gonna say that they do cover the spread of 21. I think it's going to be a long season for Deion. They made a lot of improvements on that team. It's not the same 1-11 team, but we also got a whole bunch of pieces that we've never seen play before. TCU is more of a put-together team. Obviously, they had a lot of transfers in, did pretty well last year, made it all the way to the championship. I don't think they're going to fall off that big to lose to Colorado. So I'm going to definitely take them, and I'm going to take them to cover that spread. Arkansas versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a 35-point favorite. Arkansas State, I'm sorry.
I'm going to
I'm gonna take Oklahoma for the win on that one.
I think that's a cupcake warm-up game
Cupcake
too.
winning. Yeah. Brent Venable, I don't trust him as a coach. I don't like him, plain and simple. He talked too much. Said some things I ain't like about Miami, so I'm very biased on this one. But I'm still going to take Oklahoma to win the game. I don't think that Arkansas has anything to answer anything that Oklahoma is going to do.
My only question is this: how are they ranked when they got in your voice the bejesus kicked out of them all season last year?
Texas beat them 49-0. That's tough. And that's your rivalry.
And they got drugged the week before, if I'm not mistaken.
And then messed around and lost to FS Pooh. That's tough. All right, we're going to keep it moving, though. Utah State versus Iowa. Iowa is coming in this thing ranked as the number 25. They're a 25-point favorite at home against Utah State.
I think that's a cupcake game. I actually think they cover that spread by a little bit more.
Nah, I'm going total opposite on this one. I'm gonna take Utah to cover the spread of 25, of course.
Really?
I do take Iowa to win the game, though. I don't think Iowa's gonna beat them by 25. I think it'll probably be in a range of, I want to say 14 to 20-ish. I don't take them to go blow out anybody. Iowa has not earned my trust. The past couple of years, they have shown me nothing to believe that they would be a dominant team like that. And Utah State is, they're not the best cupcake or whatever this, that, and the third. They're probably the ultimate cupcake. So they'll definitely put up some points. Ball State, Kentucky. Ball State, Kentucky. Kentucky is a 26.5-point favorite. 48.5 is the over and under.
I think Kentucky win. Don't they have Devin Leary at quarterback over there?
I think Devin Leary is gone. Did he transfer over there from NC State?
If I'm not mistaken, I know Kentucky has a new quarterback. I'm from the transfer portal. I could be wrong.
He probably did go over there from I think they did get NC State quarterback. Either way, it's Ball State. I'm taking Kentucky for the win. I'm definitely going to take them to cover the 26 points. We all know Kentucky could put up points on anybody. It's always their defense that's questionable. So Ball State, Liberty. I'm just going to take Liberty on that one. Liberty is a 10-point favorite at home.
Yeah, I'm going to take Liberty on that one too. I don't. Where is Ball State, if you don't mind me asking?
I have no clue.
Exactly.
I'm at Bowling Green. I'm sorry. Bowling Green versus Liberty. Either way, it's still Liberty.
It's still a dub.
All right, Fresno State versus Purdue. Purdue is at home, 4-point favorite.
I'm going with Fresno State. I'm going to have to go with Fresno State.
I'm actually going to go with you on this one. I'm going to take Fresno State for the upset.
Yeah.
I think if there's an upset that week, this game probably would be it. And it's not even a big game at that, but it definitely probably would be an upset.
I think for their conference and the level of play that they at, I think they're a little bit underrated, if you ask me. Fresno State, I'm not saying they're really good or anything, but I think they're underrated in a sense.
All right, next game up, you got LA Tech versus SMU. Now, SMU, they're making their push to join the ACC. First game up against a 1-0 team, so LA Tech has already got their foot under them. They beat FIU yesterday. Coming into this game, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and take SMU. They do have a lot of Miami Hurricane former players. They do have Miami Hurricane former staff. I think those guys will go right over there and fit right in. It's not a new system to them. They're gonna go and pick up right where they left off with Rhett Lashley. I'm gonna take SMU for the win on this one. No point spreads out, nothing like that, but I'm gonna take them to win by maybe 7 points.
I'm gonna take SMU by I'm gonna take SMU. If I had to give a point spread between 7 and 10 points.
Okay. All right. Northern Illinois versus Boston College. Boston College at home.
I think Boston College take that dub and go ahead and go about their business. They home, and Northern Illinois is a long way from Boston.
Yeah, the point spread is 9.5. I'm definitely going to take Boston College to cover that. Long Island University versus Ohio. I think Ohio will bounce back this week with a win over them.
I think so too.
Robert Morris versus Air Force. Air Force.
They gonna win with that wing T.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Air Force also. Wouldn't be surprised if this game was an upset though. Mercer versus Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. By what's the point spread?
There's none as of right now. Mercer is 1-0, so they do got some jitters out, whatever that's supposed to mean. But I'll take Ole Miss for the blowout.
Yeah, I'm going with Ole Miss. I think it's a blowout fashion too. I think that game over by halftime.
Yeah, me too. All right. East Tennessee State versus Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville rolling at 2-0.
Jacksonville rolling at 2-0 also. Northern Illinois versus Illinois State.
Oh, Iowa.
Iowa State. I don't know why I'm saying Illinois.
Now you good.
I'm gonna take Iowa State.
You know, I'm gonna take Iowa State, but them boys just got in trouble for gambling on games, and a whole lot of controversy been going on with Iowa State. So I know they're gonna be Iowa State, Northern Iowa, but I'm gonna keep my eye on them. But Iowa State.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Iowa State too. Temple versus Akron. Temple I think Temple's at home, and it's a 10-point favorite.
Yeah, I'm gonna rock with Temple.
Oh, damn, kids making all that noise up there. Portland State versus Oregon.
That's gonna be a massacre, Oregon.
Yeah, definitely.
That's like a JUCO college versus Oregon. Good God.
Man, so Indiana is at home, but they're a 30-point underdog versus Ohio State.
That's disrespectful. How you home and you favored to lose by 30 points? I've never seen that. Now that I'm looking at that.
But you know what? I'm going to take Ohio State to come up short.
You think they don't cover the spread?
I don't think they cover the 30-point spread. I think they beat them by 20-something, but I'm not going into the 30s. Now, obviously, I could be dead wrong. Ohio State has been bullying the whole Big Ten for a while now. But yeah, I'm not going to take
anything. Indiana hasn't been any good for 5-6 years now?
Yeah, Ohio State starting a new quarterback. Obviously, they got all the weapons on offense. We know that.
With 4 or 5-star receivers already locked in and just locked and loaded. So you're right.
Yeah, it's more on the defensive side of the ball where I don't trust Ohio State. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they win the game, but they don't cover the 30. Boise State versus Washington. Washington is the number 10 team in the country, 14.5 points favorite at home.
I'm going with Washington.
I'm gonna take Washington also. Keep it moving. Basically, Texas versus Rice. Like Josh Pate like to say, Texas versus food. You never lose to food.
Right. That's barely a stat game, but yeah, that's Texas all the way.
Yeah, Texas all the way. We don't necessarily have to talk about Notre Dame, Tennessee. We already talked about them. When we looked at the next game, they were playing Notre Dame for the win. Buffalo versus Wisconsin. Wisconsin at home, 28-point favorite. Warm-up game, basically.
I think Wisconsin win, but I don't think they cover the spread.
I think they'll win and they'll cover. I'm gonna take Wisconsin to cover. UMass versus Auburn. Auburn is a 38-point favorite at home.
I'm gonna have to go with Auburn on that one. Do they cover that spread?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so. I don't think
Auburn will cover that 38. I think they'll win convincingly, just not 38.
Yeah, I think they win by maybe 20, 24 or something like that.
Yeah. Towson versus Maryland.
I think Maryland get that dub for the first win of the season.
I think Maryland get the dub also. I don't think their offense will look spectacular or anything like that. I think Josh Gaddis is calling plays for them. So I'll take Maryland to win, just not to look spectacular. South Florida versus Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky is at home and it's an 11.5-point favorite.
I hate to say this, but I'm gonna ride with Western Kentucky. I don't know what's going on with South Florida, but I think Western Kentucky just gonna beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Western Kentucky too. South Florida. You know what? No, I'm gonna take South Florida for the upset. I'm gonna take them for the upset. If there was an upset this week, other than the other one we talked about, I'm gonna go with this one too. So that'll be my second upset of the week. South Florida beat Western Kentucky.
Right.
Wolford versus Pitt. Obviously Pitt.
Yeah, I'm riding with Pitt on that one too.
Cincinnati versus Eastern Kentucky.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, go Bearcats. App State versus Gardner Webb.
App State.
App State, absolutely.
Believe it or not, App State be making some upset games.
Yeah, I mean that's Texas A&M about them. Western Carolina versus Arkansas.
Arkansas, that's a warm-up game.
Arkansas blowout, total domination. Southeast Louisiana versus Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, that's easy.
Blowout, Mississippi State. Cal versus North Texas. Now this should be a good one. Cal is only a 7-point favorite. Texas is at home.
I'm gonna have to ride. I'm gonna go with the upset. I'm gonna go with North Texas.
I think this is gonna be a good one. I think it's gonna be a good one. But I might have to rock with you on this one. I'm gonna take the upset also. Got to throw a couple of them in there. Got to be some wedges, in this week coming up.
Yeah,
I
haven't
gonna go out on a
too much
limb.
from Cali.
Now, if I do come back on Sunday and I see that Cal won, I won't be surprised. Colgate versus Syracuse.
Syracuse versus Toothpaste. I'm going with Syracuse.
I'm taking Syracuse. Maybe they would lose some mouthwash, but not toothpaste. UNLV versus Bryant.
UNLV.
UNLV all the way. UT Martin versus Georgia.
Upset
alert.
As much as I would love to see that, this is going to be Georgia.
upset alert. Sergeant AR-10 probably like, what? Oh, man, let me write this one down. Nah, Georgia will dominate that game from top to bottom. South Carolina State versus Charlotte. I'm going to take Charlotte.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with Charlotte just because they're home.
Yeah, this will be a warm-up game for Charlotte. Their real opponent will be Florida. Let me see. Wait, is it y'all that played them or is it Florida State that played them? I think it's y'all. Monmouth versus FAU.
I can't convincingly tell you that I like Florida Atlantic to win that game. I'm sorry, but Florida Atlantic is going to win that game.
I'm going to take them to win that game too. They're at home. That's the only reason I took them, because they're at home. I don't know nothing about neither one of those teams, to be exact. Georgia Southern, the Florida Killer, versus the Citadel. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Georgia Southern.
I'm going to take Georgia Southern too. Bucknell versus James Madison. James Madison kind of made a name for themselves as of recently, so I'm just going to take James Madison. I've heard of them. I've never heard anything good about Bucknell, to be honest. Marshall versus Albany.
I'm going to go with Marshall.
I'm going to take Marshall also. Nevada, USC, we talked about that earlier. USC will win that convincingly. 38 points is 38.5 points is is what they're favored by. I'm gonna take them, but I'm not taking them to cover that 38 points. No, you know what? Nevada is terrible.
I was about to say, you don't think USC covered the 38 points?
They didn't cover. They gave up 28 to San Fran.
What was the spread yesterday? What was the spread yesterday for them?
I think it was 21. Was it 21 or 30? It was something. I think it was 30 something.
If it was 30 something, then they didn't cover it. I think they going. I don't know. I think they cover that. Nevada. I don't think anything about Nevada. I think they're just one of those teams that you just play for food.
I think I would take USC on the money line. I just wouldn't take them to cover spread. I wouldn't bet the spread. I'm gonna just say they do win and they do blow them out, but I don't know if that 38 is too steep for me. FIU look to bounce back against Maine. They are at home. I'm gonna take them to be 1-1. I'm gonna take them to win this game.
Matching bag.
You like who? You said
I'll
Florida.
take FIU over Maine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with FIU as well.
Then you got Southeast Missouri State versus Kansas State. I'm gonna take Kansas State. The reigning Big 12 champions. I'm gonna take
K-State, and I think they win in dominant fashion.
I definitely do too. New Mexico versus Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a 38-point favorite. I'm taking Texas A&M at Kyle Field.
Do you think they cover the spread though?
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's why I knew it was the reason why I rocked with you, man. Because we be on the same page with a lot of that stuff.
Their offense last year hasn't shown me anything to believe otherwise. Now I do believe they will be improved this year, but I can't take them the first game to go beat them by 38.
Yeah, I can't either because after what happened last year. But I'll make it quick. I think Texas A&M win. They win, but I think they blow them out, but not by that spread.
I want to say they beat them by 35 or less. 35 or less. I don't think they get to the 38. Got to keep it in mind. This is New Mexico. Army versus UL Monroe. Army is a 10-point favorite. UL Monroe is at home.
I think the wing T or that wishbone actually get that wish done and they win wherever they're going. Where's UL Monroe? I don't see them winning that game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you on that one. Vanderbilt versus Alabama A&M.
They escaped week 1. I think they gone on to 2-0. Vanderbilt.
All right, yeah, I'll take Vanderbilt also. That should be a cupcake for them. You never really hear anybody say Vanderbilt got cupcake games, but
right, they're usually the cupcake.
Yeah. Washington State versus Colorado State. Washington State. I'll take Washington State, and I think they'll cover the 12 points.
I'm gonna take Washington State as well, and I actually like Washington State to go. I think that'll be a bigger spread than what they're saying right there. Yeah. I think 12.5 is enough.
All right, Texas State versus Baylor. Baylor's a 26.5-point favorite. I'll definitely take Baylor. Yeah, I'll take them to cover that also.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take them to say. I'm gonna say they win by 28. This is a Texas matchup, so they'll play them tough. Yeah. Staying in the state of Texas, you got Houston versus UTSA. UTSA is a 1-point favorite.
Wow, really?
1 point. I'm actually take UTSA for the win.
I'm gonna go with Houston for the upset.
All right, that should be an interesting one to watch. All right, Central Arkansas versus Oklahoma State. No, never mind. That's wrong team. Oklahoma State definitely will win that.
Yeah.
Bethune-Cookman versus Memphis. Bethune-Cookman got too many issues. We all saw that televised.
Yeah.
Alcorn State versus Southern Miss. I'm gonna take Southern Miss.
I'm gonna take Southern Miss on that one.
All right. So Troy. We'll take Troy over Stephen F. Austin. Alabama versus Middle Tennessee. Alabama is a 39-point favorite in this one.
Man, I think Middle Tennessee gonna get the upset. Now I'm messing with you. Alabama.
Oh man, I'm gonna take Alabama. I'm gonna take Alabama for the win. I'm not taking them to cover the 39. I think Middle Tennessee is gonna go out there and play with some pride.
Really?
Coming off of a win last year against Miami, I think their heads bloated up. Their head coach is
in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. I'm gonna take them to cover that. I'm gonna take Alabama to win by 35.
Oh, not 39.
not 39.
Okay. I give you that, but okay.
All right, so West Virginia versus Penn State. Penn State at home, of course, and they're 20.5 favorite. Penn State has actually been getting a lot of playoff talk this year. They're ranked number 7 coming into this preseason. So I'm actually going to take them, and I'm actually take them to cover that 20 points.
I like Penn State to win, but I don't know if they cover that spread.
I think they will. I think West Virginia is just that awful. I think West Virginia will probably fire their head coach this season, but that's yet to be determined. North Carolina versus South Carolina in North Carolina. 2.5 point favorite is North Carolina. I'm going to take South Carolina for the upset.
I think North Carolina is only in that game because of Drake Mays, but I think South Carolina defense actually get the job done, so I'm going with South Carolina.
I'm going to take South Carolina also. Toledo versus Illinois. Illinois at home, 9 point favorite. I'm gonna take Illinois just because they're at home. Texas Tech, Wyoming. Texas Tech is a 14.5 point favorite on the road.
Yeah, Wyoming ain't really about nothing either.
I'm gonna take Texas Tech to cover that spread and more. All right, South Alabama versus Tulane. Tulane 6 point favorite.
And they're ranked 24. Crazy.
Yes. The season. I think it was undefeated last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'll go with Tulane then.
I'm gonna take Tulane. Okay, here's a controversial one. 16 point favorite. Virginia Tech takes on Old Dominion at home. Blacksburg.
V-Tech.
I'm gonna take Old Dominion for the upset.
Really?
They've been doing it for the past couple of years now.
What,
I'm gonna take them to beat them again. Northwestern State versus Louisiana Raising Cajun.
Louisiana.
I'm gonna take Billy's old home. Western Illinois versus New Mexico State.
New Mexico State.
I'll take New Mexico State just because they're at home, and I don't know neither one of these teams. UTEP versus Word. Incarnate Word.
UTEP. Well, I didn't even know it was a college.
Yeah, I'm taking UTEP. We keep moving. Arizona definitely will beat Northern Arizona.
Yeah.
BYU will definitely beat Sam Houston. They're a 20-point favorite in that one.
I think they cover that spread.
I think they cover it too. UCLA versus Coastal Carolina. Now, this should be a good one. UCLA at home, 14.5 point favorite.
I'm actually going to go with Coastal Carolina.
I'm going to go UCLA. I say Coastal Carolina cover the spread, though. All right. San Diego State versus Idaho State. Idaho.
I'm going to go with San Diego State because they home.
I'm going to take San Diego State also. Sunday, Northwestern versus Rutgers, the bottom feeders of the Big Ten. Rutgers, 6.5 point favorite. Northwestern still doesn't even have a head coach.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rutgers.
I'm going to
the
take
oldest
Rutgers
team
too.
in college football.
It's too much buffoonery going on at Northwestern right now. Oregon State, DJ Uiagalelei will make his debut, basically.
Versus San Jose State?
San Jose State. And Oregon State is a 17.5 point favorite at home.
Yeah, Oregon State going to kick them to sleep, probably. Not sleep, but they'll win that game.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take Oregon State. I think DJ going to come out and basically revive his career. I think Clemson had him in the wrong system. All right, obviously, game of the night. Number 5, LSU. Number 8, Florida State. It's going down in Orlando. LSU will come into this thing at a 2.5 point favorite. Over and under is sitting at 58. This is a Camping World kickoff. This is on Sunday night at 7:30, ABC, national TV, prime time. Who you going with, Florida State or LSU? Now, obviously, you're a Florida fan. Both of these teams are your rivals, so this should be very interesting.
Based on what I know about both teams, I think FSU gonna lose this game, and I think LSU beat them by more than 2.5 points. I think that's a double-digit win, if you ask me.
I'm gonna take LSU to win this game by 14 points or more.
Double digits, anything
Double
double digits.
digits. I definitely believe Brian Kelly has a lot to prove. He got a chip on his shoulder. Feel like he was bamboozled last year, by a block kick. I definitely think he's going to come in this game with vengeance. Now, Florida State is not any pushover coming into this one. They do got some key players on the offensive side. I do expect them to be explosive. For me, their question is on the defensive side of the ball. Can any of those guys, other than their that one corner they got out of the transport, Cypress, as anybody else other than him and that one linebacker that they got in them two edge rushers? Other than that, I think their secondary is very questionable. So I'm going to take LSU because they're more of a balanced team than Florida State to actually go out and get this dub. I'm going to take them by 14 or more. Any Florida State problem, and then Florida State fans watching the channel ain't got a problem with it, deal with it. Anyways, last game, Monday night, 8 o'clock. You got Duke versus Clemson. Now, in the past, I would say Clemson would dominate this game, but not of recently. Duke has been actually getting a lot better. They picked up a lot of talent. They got a whole bunch of former Miami Hurricane coaches. They got a whole bunch of Florida Miami Hurricanes over there. Clemson is a 12.5-point favorite, and they're at home. I'm sorry, Duke is at home. So Clemson is not the Clemson of the past that you saw was dominating and everything like that. They have settled down a lot lately. So I am going to take Clemson to win this game. Yes, there's no upset. 12.5 is the line. I'm definitely going to take Clemson to cover that. I think they win this by 17 or more. So
I think you're right. I think Clemson do win that game. I don't think Duke has the depth, just yet. But I'm gonna go ahead and say Duke start this season off 0-1.
0-1 it is. All right, guys. So there you have it. Previews for the whole next week. Yesterday was phenomenal. It was great to see some college football. Let me know what you guys think, man. Did we get any of these predictions wrong? If you're watching this back, did I talk trash about Florida State good enough?
Nah,
Do y'all think I was wrong about Utah and Florida and all that other stuff? Sam, appreciate you for coming on.
No problem.
What you going to the Utah game?
Nah, I ain't gonna be up there in Salt Lake City, but I am gonna make some Gator games this year.
All right. So this Friday night coming up, I will be at the Miami versus Miami Ohio game. I will, get you guys some tailgating footage, some experience going to the stadium, all that kind of stuff. I'll get all that on, video for you guys posted to the channel so you guys can kind of get an experience of the first home game, first game of the season, that kind of deal. And of course, we'll break down everything that happened, and we'll get ready that Sunday for the Florida State game. Anyways, guys, like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. T2Y, I'm out.
All right.